Hey everyone, since the last hill climb I changed the wheels on my car, so the factory wheels were a 215 wide front and a 245 wide rear, and I was running some Kumo PS71s, and if you watch my last video you'll see I was very disappointed in their performance. I have changed to a aftermarket rim that is the same width front and rear, and gone to a Toyo Proxes R888R tyre, which is a much more sporty tyre. It's a semi-slick with 100 tread wear. It made a massive difference. The time improved by about 2 seconds, even on the first run. What I'm about to show is I did do 6 runs on the day. Unfortunately, my fastest run was my last run, and the GoPro and the race box decided not to work for the last run. I believe the GoPro was out of battery and the race box, I don't know. This is the second fastest run of the day, so there was a 10th difference, a 10th even difference between the two runs. The lap timer that you'll see is actually not for the entire lap. It starts once I get out on the main track, but it is accurate for the main track loop. And the reason I mentioned this and the reason I even bothered showing it is the main track loop time on this lap and my fastest lap were exactly the same. The only difference was the launch and then the turn 1 and 2 getting onto the track in my fastest lap was a little bit quicker than this one. With that being said, let's get into the commentary now. So with the launch, my method now is using the burnout, but using just a modulated throttle. So basically when I stand on it, it revs up, drops the clutch, and then I just try and use the throttle to keep as much wheel spin, but not too much, and get going as best I can. This is proven to be a 10th quicker than just driving off the line without using that method. And now that I've got traction, previous event, it didn't seem to work because it just didn't grab traction at all. And there was not much difference between them. And now it is actually more effective to do the wheel spin method. So that's what I do here. I'm also able to carry a lot more speed into that first turn. In my fastest lap, I very lightly lift off the throttle instead of quite as much as I'm doing in this one. And like I say, the time that I gained was all in this first section, including the jump onto the track, which you'll see in a second. So you can hear that the rear suspension really the rear wheels lose weight and lose traction over that bump. It is very much unloading them and the wheels spin up and then it goes again. If I could get a better line through there and get less of a hop out of the suspension, it would gain time. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to figure out that turn just yet. You'll see through the S's though, the grip is a lot higher. Basically, I'm still not pushing this car or these tyres to the limit of where they could be with these runs. I'm just readjusting now to the fact that the car is actually turning, whereas previously it would just understeer. It would just slide through the turn, and then when I did push it would all-wheel slide and just be terrible. So overall, you'll see a lot better grip, but I'm still struggling to adjust to that in this short time. And a little bit slow onto the throttle onto the right-hander coming up the hill. So there's still time to be made there if I was able to basically start to get on the throttle as I'm turning in towards the apex, or prior to the apex, because there is a bit of delay between me actually pushing the throttle down and the car responding, because that's all fly-by-wire and lots of computers in between me and the car. I've got to get better at preempting that, because it's okay. It starts to throttle as I'm heading towards the exit, but I could gain a 10th or so if I can get onto that throttle a little bit earlier, because it carries all the way to the top of the hill. As we get to the top of the hill, so I'll note that in my last run here, the previous month with the old tyres, I couldn't actually hit 100 at the top of the hill here, whereas I was getting consistently between 100 and 103 on these runs, and that's mostly just due to carrying more speed from that bottom corner at the bottom of the hill. There's no difference in the power of the car, maybe the temperature on the day, but it's very similar to the last conditions in terms of temperature. It's really just carrying more speed. I also am able to brake later, which you'll see more in the downhill, but the uphill I'm still braking too early. I'm still not really adjusting to the available grip I've got. So what's about to happen is I'm braking too early at the top of the hill here, and I turn in, and I'm not able to get on the throttle because I've actually braked too early, turned in too early. The corner's not actually ready for me to be there. So I've got to kind of wait a second before I get on the power. So I am losing time at this corner. I've got to commit harder here, brake deeper and sort of hold the line straighter to turn and then hold the next line straighter. I'm braking too early and making more of a corner here than I should be. And you do see that I overcompensate for that and kick out sideways as I'm coming around that turn, because I know at the time when I'm doing it that I've turned too early and I want to keep going, and so I get on the throttle and then it kicks out sideways. So that corner could be improved by quite a lot. So this right-hander before the downhill, I'm getting this okay. I do think there's time to be made here, but I think on the whole, I've got this one fairly well. Sometimes I carry more speed than others, and that does make a dramatic time difference, but I wouldn't say I'm upset with this performance on either this or my fastest lap. It's also one of the hardest ones to read as you're coming up to it. It's also the most scary because you can't really see it until you get there. So what we're going to see though, as I come down the hill here, is I'm able to carry a lot more speed, brake later, and then most importantly, the car is just turning in exactly when I ask it to. The difference in the dynamics of this car's turn in between the old wheels and tyres and these ones is huge. The entire way around the track, the car is turning in when I'm telling it to, and that has actually caused me more problems when I'm not ready for it. But this is one of the later runs, and I am ready for it here, and the car is really behaving well. I can probably still carry more speed into this last turn, though. I think that I'm not actually pushing quite as hard as I could be. So that's the lap around SDMA Hillclimb from the 3rd of the 3rd, 2024. Dramatic difference in the wheels and tyres. I had a much better time today. We had a lot more runs because there were less people there. There were other events on, and so just a smaller turnout in general. But yeah, super happy with the car. I will look to go again another time, and I think I've got a solid few tenths to improve there without doing any adjustments to the car, just getting better at driving the track and learning it more. It does take time when you can only get so many runs in on a day. So thanks for watching.